Kaiju, Jaeger, doesn't matter what you want. Check out Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description down below. Kaiju, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello there, collectors. It is Steven here, continuing the Pacific Rim Uprising reviews with a Jaeger? Or, you know what, we'll go with that, with another Jaeger review for Obsidian Fury. Now, kids, we're not going to go into spoiler territory at all, okay? Okay, so this Jaeger is seen battling Gypsy Avenger in the trailers, and all of the official promotional information listed as a very mysterious Jaeger. I wonder exactly what that might be. Regardless, this nice, unique jet black Jaeger has an action figure released by Bandai in the second wave of Pacific Rim Uprising Robot Spirits figures, and with that in mind at $30, we don't know too much about it, friend or foe, ally or enemy. Is it worth the purchase? Well, I know why you're here, so let's take a look to see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection. Obsidian Fury is pretty much just a jet matte black. Except for the biceps, which are glossy black. Yeah. Yeah, that is a very odd design choice. That's something I'm going to have to ding them for. I don't know why that is glossy. And the con pod is orange. We do have the silver joints, but yeah, that's pretty much about it. It's a black Jaeger. There's not too much to say here. Now, in the official design and the CGI model that we see in the trailers anyway, there are plenty of hints of orange all throughout the Jaeger, but here, it's black. Sculpting detail is great, but there's not too much to hem and haw over and jump up and down and say, ooh, that looks nice. Except there is one particular area where I really think they did a nice job, and that would be the con pod. See, Obsidian Fury is all black, so obviously they're going for a darker theme here, whether it is actually in coloration or in feel. You know, there's a difference between a hero being nice and bright and colorful and the villain, which Obsidian just may very well be. And if you take a look at the con pod, it definitely has that feeling to it, where it is using translucent orange plastic, and you can even see that when you shine light onto it. So normally when you use translucent plastic, it really captures the feel of lighting, and you're able to let it shine wonderfully. But here, any light that is shown into it, it looks like it's being absorbed and almost destroyed like a black hole. That's a really cool feeling they were able to capture here, so I do have to give Bandai some pretty big thumbs up for that. Aside from that, yeah, jet black. There are some nice panel lines here and there that aren't colored in, obviously. And like I made mention before, the biceps are glossy black compared to the pretty much all matte black for the rest of the figure. Why they decided to go that route, I don't know. There must be some sort of secret held in the movie that none of us know about, or a couple of us know about, but no one should really say quite yet. Anyway, sculpted detail is fantastic with a whole bunch of different panels on the chest being completely apparent, and then moving on down, we do have some funky design choices, like we have these little hoop parts on the thighs, which are reminiscent of kaiju like Knifehead and Scunner and whatnot, having the splits in their arms. Obsidian has some kaiju traits to the design. I wonder why that might be. Anyway, continuing on down, we do have some nice shin guards here, which are perfectly sculpted. And the feet, we do have 2 toes. Yeah, only 2 toes. I don't know why. On the back of Obsidian Fury, we do have what looks like a spinal cord, which is some pretty interesting design choices. And here, I can't ding Obsidian Fury for no detailing on the back because there's no detailing on the figure at all. Yeah, that's not very good. So overall, I do think that for the design choices, Obsidian Fury is seriously lacking in detail, considering it's just an all-black Jaeger, but the con pod does really convey that feeling of doom. So there's points given there too, but it's very simple. I don't know. This is definitely going to be one of those things where, to you, it's either really good or really lazy. I don't know. Having a very sleek design, Obsidian Fury not only looks nice, but it has some very, very great articulation even at the price point, with only a couple of joints that I think could be a little bit nicer, and even then, maybe it's a design flaw instead of an actual engineering flaw. What am I talking about? Let's take a look. So as you would expect, the head attaches into the neck on a ball joint. And we can get Obsidian to look up that far or look down about that far. That's not factoring in the actual neck itself, which allows the head to pop out like that. So we can get it to look up even farther or down even just a tad bit more. So that's nice to see. The shoulder pads, interestingly enough, I popped this one off so I can show you. I actually did it on accident. It plugs in on a swivel, okay? And then it's on a ball joint. So it's plugging into the shoulder on a swivel, and then the shoulder pad rests on the swivel on a ball joint. So you're going to get some nice movement out of the shoulder pads. So this way you can move Obsidian's arms around. You can raise and lower the arms at the shoulder ball joints, just like so, forward and back. Pretty much perfect movement. Yeah, you know, again, you got to finagle some joints around. And you can get Obsidian to go that far forward and that far back with the arms. Of course, if you move them around a little bit more, maybe you can increase the range of movement a bit, but yeah, it is what it is. We do have some bicep swivelage here, so that's nice to see. And then we do have the double elbow hinge, as you would come to expect, alongside the double ball jointed wrists. So this way Obsidian can move little handsies around. Now, when it comes to the ab crunch, unfortunately, it is a ball joint, but a pretty limited one in terms of moving forward and back. It's just a little bit of a rocker, but side-to-side movement's pretty solid, and twisting and turning, that's what that joint is used for. Like the other Jaegers, the hip plugs into the body on a ball joint, so this way we can twist and turn Obsidian right there, kind of like a waist joint, but not really. Ball jointed hips. Bet you never saw a Jaeger do that before. But what's cool about that is we do also have the fact that the hips plug into the thighs on ball joints, so we can have the legs move out like that. So that's for neutral, and then they swivel around, so that's great. Double hinge knees, not a perfect bend. Yeah, Sculpt does block the articulation just a little bit, so that is its weakest aspect there. And then we do have ball jointed ankles for ankle rocker movement, and we get some nice fluid movement here because the ankle guard here from the shin doesn't really block the movement too much forward or back, so we get some nice posing there. So overall, Obsidian Fury can move really, really well. So if you can think of a pose, chances are Obsidian Fury will be able to strike it, and if it's going to go on your shelf, this is definitely going to be one figure you're going to want to have fighting some of your other kaiju or mechs. Like all the Jaegers so far, Obsidian Fury comes with an extra set of hands, splayed hands to be exact, and a signature weapon, which would be the double orange forearm chainsaws. Yeah, not chain swords, not chain blades. They're literally orange translucent chainsaws that would pop out. Yeah, cool. There's also a little plug on the back that you can pop off, so this way you can insert a support arm stand into its back. That would be either Tamashii Stage Act 4 or 5, your choice. Doesn't have to be 5 like the instructions say. And you can use a support arm to hold up Obsidian Fury without having to use a claw. So that's one option for you if you would like. But aside from that, let's get into the actual accessory section here and let's take a look at how you use everything. So to swap out the hands, it's very simple. All you have to do is grab the fist, pop it off like so, and then attach the new hand like this. Splayed hands can be a little cheeky, but we do have a skeletal-like hand. Look at those fingers. Kind of creepy, right? Right. Now, for the orange chainsaws of doom, here is how you attach them, okay? You have to pop off the top of the forearm part there. And here is one of the chainsaws, right? Looks very nice. We're going to have some still pictures in a second. Don't you worry, kids. Then you just line up the holes in the forearm part with the pegs on the chainsaw. And then you take the forearm part and you reattach it correctly. How am I doing this? Just like that. So that way, when it lines up, it looks like it's actually launched from the forearm, right? So that looks really cool. So here's a closer look at the details for Ashwell. I mean the chainsaw that pops off from the forearm, and it really does look like it has a nice blade running along it. Very, very clear, translucent plastic used for the blade, and then it really does look like there's sort of like a motor on the inside, like it's actually being fired off, and there's actual gears and whatnot on the inside. So it's very, very cool to see the mechanical aspects of effect parts here. So props to Tamashii Nations for pulling that off. And now for the last little section of accessories here, all you have to do is pop off that part right there on Obsidian Fury's little robot booty and take your support arm and just plug the peg into the hole like that, and bada bing, bada boom. You don't need to use a support claw when you're using any support arm or stand for Obsidian Fury. You just need to do that. Now, overall, Obsidian Fury's accessories are really nice. They are fitting of the Jaeger, except for one thing. We do see in the trailer that Obsidian does fire off some sort of chest beam at Gypsy Avenger, which is not seen here in this set, which would be nice to have. But, you know, there are some alternatives out there in the market, like if you have NECA, the Ultimate Gypsy Danger, or you have one of the other million Gypsy Dangers that comes with one of the chest beams. You could use that here, or there's another effect part. It would be nice to have a slashing effect for the chainsaws, so if you don't have any of those and you're maybe trying to find one that might work, of course I have a video for you, and a card will be popping up in the top right hand corner of the screen. So overall, I think Obsidian Fury for accessories is really, really neat, and we have some accessories that are very fitting to this Jaeger. Now, to wrap up the review, here is a size comparison with the whole second wave of Jaegers from Tamashii Nations, and as you can see, Obsidian Fury is tall and it is very, very lanky, but it will fit in really well with any 6-inch kaiju display, or even with some of your other NECA Pacific Rim figures. So, buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Overall, Obsidian Fury, I do believe, does look nice sculpt-wise, but there was really no effort to bring out any of the details of the sculpt at all, aside from holding it in hand and fiddling around with it. Articulation is really nice, and for accessories, they basically gave us everything that they realistically could at $30, though I do argue they could have thrown in something for the chest effect part that we do see Obsidian using on Gypsy Avenger in one of the trailers. And I think the sizing looks very, very good here. Overall, at the end of the day, I do think Obsidian Fury is definitely going to be one of the Jaegers that fans are going to want to add into their collection, whether or not it's because it's an enemy Jaeger or it's a unique design that they just simply want to have in. Now, I would have to say that this is going to be one that folks are really liking. I am seeing it sold out here and there. I'm seeing a whole bunch of folks messaging me saying, hey, I really like this one. This is going to be the next one I'm going to get. So if you're looking to pick up Obsidian Fury, I would definitely consider it sooner rather than later, especially at $30. There are going to be a lot of fans who, after this review, are going to say, hey, I want that, and it's super affordable. And considering Bandai may be a little bit iffy on reissues depending on how Pacific Rim Uprising performs, if you like what you see, I would highly suggest picking this figure up today. Well, folks, that's the end of this review. Thanks for watching, and be sure to follow me on social media to catch more behind-the-scenes shenanigans and updates. The end card should be popping up now with more hand-selected STR goodness for you to watch, so check out some of those videos. Be sure to check the description, too, to see where you can buy this figure or others like it, and some cool links, like the credits for this video, and other ways you can help out the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.